Elliot navigated the Star Voyager towards one of the lesser-known ports on Arcturus, a vibrant hub filled with a colorful medley of cultures. The moment they docked, the air buzzed with an electrifying energy, full of laughter and commerce. Elliot looked at Lyra, Zira, and Neela, their eyes wide with curiosity as they stepped onto the bustling boardwalk. "This is what freedom looks like," Elliot commented, a smile tugging at his lips. The colorful stalls stretched before them, glowing with an array of goods, alien fruits, shimmering fabrics, and trinkets from countless worlds. The aroma of food wafted through the air, mingling with the sounds of boisterous laughter and lively music. As they walked further, Elliot pointed out various stalls, explaining the unique offerings of each. "If you spot anything you like, feel free to pick it out. It's your choice now." He enjoyed showing them the beauty of choice, but the girls hesitated, glancing at one another as if waiting for permission to engage. Eventually, they approached a stall bursting with vibrant fruits. Lyra's eyes lit up as she pointed to a strange pink fruit, adorned with swirling patterns. "What is that?" Elliot chuckled. "That's a plory fruit. It's tart and sweet, perfect for a refreshing treat. Want to try it?" A soft laugh bubbled in his throat as Lyra nodded eagerly. He purchased several of the fruits, handing one to her. Lyra bit into it and squealed in delight as juices squirted all over her face. She laughed, wiping the juice from her cheeks with the back of her hand. "It's amazing!" she exclaimed, and the delight in her voice was infectious. Zira, still skeptical, surveyed the vendors with crossed arms, but soon found a pair of intricately designed gloves at another stall. Choosing quality over skepticism, she approached the vendor. "What can you tell me about these?" she asked, her voice steady and authoritative. Elliot watched as Zira connected with the vendor. Her confidence grew as she haggled, her warrior spirit asserting itself. "Yes, I'll take them," she proclaimed after the vendor eagerly agreed to a price. Neela continued to linger near Elliot, her gentle spirit drawn to the various baubles. She picked up a shimmering necklace, studying its delicate craftsmanship. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Elliot smiled knowingly. "You're an excellent choice maker, Neela. I think you should treat yourself. You deserve something beautiful, inside and out." Without waiting for a reply, he purchased the necklace, placing it gently around her neck. Neela's eyes widened in surprise and gratitude, her cheeks flushing with happiness. The day flew by as they explored more stalls, the vibrant sounds of the market enveloping them. Elliot felt a sense of joy watching the girls loosen up. Freedom was intoxicating, and they were starting to absorb its essence. Each discovered something that sparked happiness, whether it was food, a charming item, or even engaging with local vendors. As evening approached, they settled at a cozy outdoor cafe, where alien musicians played enchanting melodies. The twilight skies of Arcturus painted beautiful hues, a magical backdrop to their newfound adventure. This was no longer just a refugee escaping a fate. They were becoming part of a family, a force to be reckoned with growing brighter by the day. Feeling bold and playful, Elliot teased, "Okay, now that we are a family, we need to attempt one challenge together." Speaking to strangers in the market, "Who's with me?" The challenge brought laughter and lightheartedness, pushing them out of their comfort zones. Even Zira, normally reserved, agreed with a smirk. "Let's see if you can teach us how to deal with humans as fiercely as we would deal with criminals on Tarath." As the night fell into the starry sky, Elliot felt as though they had forged a connection that transcended mere obligation, a kinship built on shared experiences. The next morning, Elliot awoke to find the girls in the common area, discussing the plans for their day. The camaraderie was budding, yet he sensed the threads of uncertainty woven within. As the morning sun streamed through the ship's windows, casting warm light, he couldn't shake the feeling that the challenges ahead would test their bonds. "Today, I thought we could explore your cultures. I'd love to hear more about your backgrounds," Elliot suggested over breakfast, hoping to deepen their understanding of each other. His hands moved skillfully, preparing a mixed fruit breakfast bowl infused with a hearty dose of optimism. Lyra looked thoughtful. "My home is a place of constant change, the Auroran fields where the colors dance under the light of twin suns. It sounds vibrant, right?" she said, a hint of bright emotion in her voice. Zira chimed in. I hail from a place steeped in tradition. My father was a chieftain, a fighter who taught me strength and discipline. She held a resolute gaze, her hands clenched into fists. Neela, quieter but equally compelling, smiled gently. On Arathis, we value healing and wisdom above all. The gift of touch, the ability to mend what was broken, it's sacred. My mother was the village healer. She taught me everything. As they shared stories, Elliot observed the glimmers of light that sparkled in their eyes, a mixture of pride and recollection. Yet beneath it lay shadows. Conjured memories threatened to surface. Elliot decided to tread lightly, an unspoken understanding of their vulnerability hanging in the air. Let's recreate each of our cultures today, he proposed. A little cooking, art and music. It could be fun. The idea was met with mixed reactions. Zira appeared skeptical while Lyra's eyes sparkled with creative inspiration. I'll paint a scene from my home, Lyra exclaimed, excited at the prospect. I can show you the Auroran fields, the sight I've longed to capture but never could. Neela nodded, inspired. And I can teach you some herbal remedies from my land. They have healing properties to ease pain. While Zira remained less enthused, Elliot sensed a fire within her that would ignite eventually. What about sound or movement? This morning I heard beautiful music coming from the marketplace. You could teach us a dance from Tereth, right? Zira smirked, rolling her eyes playfully. You think we move like dancers? We fight with strength. Exactly. And I've seen warriors move with elegance and power, Elliot urged. Show us. With determination, Zira finally relented. Fine, but know that it's more about strength than grace. Elliot left the ship with excitement, sensing that these shared activities could strengthen their bonds. He didn't yet know of the storm brewing beneath the surface. In the vibrant market, they gathered ingredients and supplies for their cultural exploration, laughter and camaraderie enveloping each interaction. However, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, tension surfaced. Lyra stood at her canvas in the common area, pushing through artistic blocks that taunted her. Elliot observed her struggle from a distance, sensing the frustration brewing under her skin. When he approached, her eyes flashed with annoyance. Why does it feel so empty? I can't form it. It just feels wrong. Elliot knelt beside her and asked gently, What if you paint without a goal? Just let the colors flow. Embrace the chaos. Lyra blinked, surprised by his insight. Slowly, she dipped her brush, making a stroke that transformed. Meanwhile, Zira's frustrations peaked as she attempted to teach Elliot a Terathian footwork pattern. Each attempt resulted in him stumbling and sweating, resulting in shaking laughter. Zira, at first annoyed, found herself suppressing laughter as Elliot misstepped in a way that was more comedic than graceful. By the end of the night, they had tackled their challenges, forging connections through the beauty of vulnerability. Each girl had their moment of breakthrough, allowing their pasts to linger without overshadowing their newly emerged friendships. However, Elliot remained cautious. Though comfort swirled around them, little did they know that jagged edges of their former lives lingered, waiting to test their bonds. Days passed in a beautiful blur. Elliot felt a growing warmth in their bonds, yet beneath the surface, tensions lifted their heads like dormant serpents emerging from the shadows. The challenges they faced no longer felt trivial, but tethered to deeper emotions that they had yet to confront. One evening, Neela found Elliot in his personal quarters, staring contemplatively at the star-speckled sky through a viewport. What's troubling you? She asked softly, taking a seat across from him. Her gentle, nurturing presence reminded him of the warmth of a cloak. Just trying to figure out how best to support you all, Elliot admitted, pausing to gather his thoughts. Sometimes it feels like I'm the inexperienced one, fumbling through this life of freedom. Neela nodded. It's okay to feel that way. We're all finding our place. I've struggled with worth since the day we escaped. Gratitude swirled within her soft expression as she continued. You gave us a chance. Their moment of connection was interrupted by Zira, who stormed into the room. Enough of this. We can't keep pretending everything is fine, she exclaimed, frustration simmering beneath her surface. You don't get it. I'm not used to standing still. I'm warrior-born. I should be taking on the world, not playing games. Elliot felt uncertainty cascade through him. I know it can feel overwhelming, Zira, but it's okay to breathe. Zira clenched fists, the energy within her swirling into something potent and laced with frustration. Breathe isn't what's going to keep us safe. We didn't escape just to lounge about. We need action. Neela, trying to ease the growing storm, spoke softly. But we're free now. We must learn to find peace and be together. The three of us are still learning to, Lyra began, but Zira cut her off, her voice raising higher. You're all willing to give up your strength. You're forgetting who you are. Zira turned on her heel, leaving the room indignantly. Lyra's expression dropped, nervous energy crackling around her. Do you really think she means that? She asked, concern flickering in her eyes. What if she's right? Maybe we are too comfortable. Elliot felt the weight of the moment in his chest. No, you're all just finding your rhythm, remember? Strength doesn't always mean choosing battle. It can mean finding fulfillment. Just then, a holographic alert blared through the quarters, cutting through the tension. An announcement echoed through the air. Attention! There's a verified report of a danger on the Sector 7 of Arcturus. Civilians must take immediate precautions. Repeat, secure all doors and find refuge. Elliot's heart plummeted, realization hitting him like a cold wave. With Zira's outburst fresh on their minds and chaos looming outside, the journey of their newfound freedom came crashing down against the shadows of their pasts. The emergency alert had sent the ship into a tailspin of activity. Elliot and the girls took swift action, securing the Star Voyager against the dangers that threatened to permeate their sanctuary. The confidence and camaraderie they had built began to fracture under the weight of fear, and Elliot felt the cracks forming. In the midst of the chaos, Elliot knew he needed to shift their focus towards healing and family once more. It's time we unite our strengths, just like we talked about, he declared, desperation lacing his voice. Let's brainstorm. We can inspire each other through our cultures and experiences. It's what we need to combat the fears surrounding us. With every ounce of determination poured into his words, Lyra, Zira, and Neela listened closely. Elliot felt a spark ignite their unity, their shared emotions intertwined with strength. The wariness fell as they began to foster ideas, energy returning to their conversations. Let's organize a festival, Lyra proposed, her spirit igniting enthusiasm. We can share songs, dances, and food from our worlds. A festival indeed, Zira replied, a glimmer of excitement dancing in her eyes. It can be a way to show others the power of unity across cultures. It could remind us of why we stand together, even in the dark. Neela's eyes sparkled. We can create healing spaces, places of calm within the chaos. Elliot's heart swelled as they planned the festivities, a reflection of what connected them rather than what divided them. Together they would create a space for hope and a way to face the storm brewing outside. Over the next few days, they used teamwork to craft decorations, prepare the ship, and gather supplies. Elliot felt invigorated, his heart alight with purpose as they painted banners, displayed a mosaic of cultures, and filled the air with fragrant meals. As the festival day arrived, vibrant colors adorned the Star Voyager, and the atmosphere thrummed with anticipation. A mixture of excitement and nervous energy rippled through the air. Elliot observed as the girls rehearsed dances and songs, weaving harmonies that echoed their individual heritages. Night fell, and the world transformed into a realm of enchantment. Lights twinkled all around, shadows gave way to laughter, music, and the enchanting scent of food wafting through space. As they danced under the stars, every moment affirmed the bonds they forged. Elliot moved alongside them, embracing their laughter and sharing in the joy of life. Through these challenges, Elliot could see the pieces falling into place, how love needed nurturing to flourish. Finally, as the festivities maintained their momentum throughout the night, Elliot stepped forward to address the assembled crowd, a newfound conviction echoing in every word. We've come together through struggles that none should have to face alone. Here, amidst these stars, let's celebrate our strengths and vulnerabilities. As the evening wound to a close, Elliot cooled off in the glow of camaraderie. He looked at all the faces surrounding him. The girls he had fought to rescue were now part of a new family. Each girl had a part in this moment. Strength danced hand in hand with vulnerability. When he caught Lyra's gaze, painting joy anew, he realized how blessed they were despite all the darkness. This was a night not just layered in festivity, but rooted in shared hope. Just as the last notes of music faded and the festival ambiance settled, an urgent alert interrupted the serene atmosphere. The door alarm blared, a sound that shattered the blissful illusion they had created within the Star Voyager. Multiple unidentified vessels have been sighted approaching at speed. Prepare to engage shields. Repeat, take immediate action. Elliot's heart dropped as the atmosphere shifted from exhilaration to fear once more. Everyone, to your stations, he shouted, channeling urgency into his voice. Zira reacted first, major instincts kicking into overdrive. I'll handle the shields. Nyla, focus on preparing herbal remedies in case of injuries, she instructed, pulling on her combat gear as she moved swiftly with purpose. Lyra, stay near me, Elliot urged, though a rush of uncertainty cascaded through him. He needed to protect them, to mentor them through this imminent storm. The control panel lit up as Elliot activated the vessel defenses, heart racing. We need to identify who they are first. Stay alert. They anxiously monitored the incoming ships on the radar, a growing sense of dread forming in the pit of Elliot's stomach. As the shapes neared, his worst fears were confirmed. A fleet bound by hostility, hostile traders who had initially lost the girls, no doubt angling for revenge. Alarms are blaring across the station. They've already begun their intimidation tactics, Neela called from the back, her voice quaking with anxious energy. Zira, can you boost our armaments? Elliot asked, attempting to refocus. We need to make sure we're equipped to fight back. Give me a moment, Zira shouted as she worked diligently, tapping through screens, her skilled hands moving with confidence. The threat loomed ever closer, the silhouettes of the ships sharp against the backdrop of stars. Elliot could feel the weight of the moment pressing down upon them, a palpable tension, a test of strength and grace that would require every ounce of unity they had forged. As the ships bore down on them, Elliot's thoughts raced. This moment would define them. They needed to combine their strengths, fighting not just for safety but also for their shared future. Whatever happens next, we do this together, Elliot declared firmly, meeting the gaze of each girl. No one fights alone. With newfound determination echoing in their hearts, they prepared for the furious battle ahead, one that would measure their growth and test their values. Now, they would have to face their past returning to remind them of the chains they had once shattered, stronger than ever. The air around the Star Voyager buzzed with tension as Elliot and the girls took their positions ready for battle. The close proximity of the incoming ships sent ripples of urgency through the crew. Elliot felt a firm grip of determination replace the fear gnawing at him. Zira, you've managed the shields, right? I need you to keep any immediate threats off us while I maneuver, Elliot shouted, adrenaline thrumming through his veins. He gripped the controls, heart pounding as he felt the familiar hum of the ship beneath him. On it, Zira snapped, focusing intently on the control panel, as the external visuals showed the enemy ships drawing nearer. She tapped furiously, trying to divert their firepower, ready for action. Neela, at the back of the ship, prepared remedies, creating a calm sanctuary amidst the tempest. Just in case anyone gets injured, we won't be alone in this, she said, her voice steady despite the weight of uncertainty. As the rival crafts opened fire, Elliot steered the Star Voyager with precision, narrowly avoiding blasts that singed the air behind them. The ship jolted as he redirected through a field of asteroids for cover. Hold on tight, he shouted, heart racing faster than the ship itself. For several heart-pounding moments, chaotic blasts echoed throughout. As Zira continued to provide shields, Elliot maneuvered through the debris of the asteroid field, using their environment as an ally while evading incoming fire. Switch to evasive maneuvers. I'll handle returning fire, Elliot commanded, tapping buttons and firing thrusters, feeling a swell of exhilaration. Together they moved in unison. A bond built through shared struggles pivoted into determination. Lyra, who had been quiet until this moment, unexpectedly found her voice. Elliot, I've got a visual on one ship targeting our left. The fervor in her tone matched the fire in her heart. Hit it now, he shouted, a surge of pride swelling within him. The empowerment resonated among the girls. They were no longer victims. They were a team, fiercely united. As the ship lurched again, Zira yelled, "Just keep them off our tail, Elliot. I'll only be able to maintain shields for so long if we can't take them out." Neela, glancing over the console, added, "If we aim for their weapon systems, we can neutralize their fire and make our escape." Elliot pressed down on the buttons with urgency, firing back while aiming for the enemy's weapon systems. As explosions erupted across the dark void, he felt they had gained the upper hand. "I'll boost the shields," Zira declared. "We're not letting them touch us again." With a final determined strike, Elliot focused on the enemy vessel that had been relentlessly tailing them. The pulse shots fired perfectly, hitting a critical point. An explosion rippled through the enemy ship, disorienting its crew. "We've got them on the run," Elliot yelled, a surge of elation bubbling through him as they watched the remaining ships attempt to flee. Adrenaline coursing through their veins, they continued to chase until they reached the edge of the asteroid field, where a blinding exit awaited. The enemy had no chance to regroup, momentum lost to disarray. Elliot and the girls shared a collective gasp as victorious exhilaration erupted around them, a bond refined through hardship and unity. Whatever battles awaited them in the future, they had begun to forge both strength and community. Together they had stood against adversity, their pasts now shattering into forgotten shadows, replaced by the hope of new beginnings and a belief in what they could accomplish together. As silence settled over the Star Voyager, exhaustion hung in the air. Yet relief washed over them. All adrenaline-fueled chaos had melted into triumphant camaraderie. They had faced down their foes, but more importantly, they had rediscovered their identities as strong individuals bound by shared experiences. Elliot took a moment to absorb his surroundings, turning towards the girls who had fought bravely by his side. "We did it," he breathed, pride swelling within him. Their journey, which had begun with chains of fear, had transformed into one of resilience and freedom. "I can't believe we survived that," Lyra exclaimed, laughter bubbling in her chest. "We are warriors in our own right." "More than that," Zira added with a sly grin. "We're a family, and it's about time we celebrate that." Neela, ever the peacekeeper, nodded. "I think we could use a moment to reflect and breathe after all this." Elliot regarded them, barely able to hold back a smile. "What do you say we throw a smaller celebration? Just for us. A reminder of what we've accomplished together." "Count me in," Lyra cheered, her spirit rekindled by the idea. The ship transformed into a flickering theater of colors as they decorated once again, reminiscing over the festival that had originally brought them together. As they prepared a modest meal adorned with festive qualities, laughter wafted through the air. Seated around the table post-dinner, Elliot observed the faces illuminated by the soft, warm glow of lights. "You know, you all have become more than friends to me. You've become family." The moment hung, filled with unspoken emotions, and Lyra spoke first, her voice soft but resolute. "We were once lost, but now I feel found," Zira added, her expression unexpectedly vulnerable. "We've each fought our battles, and together we've emerged stronger than before. This connection is our power." Neela, with her hands clasped together, smiled brightly. "Let's create new traditions, ways to remind ourselves of where we come from and who we are." Elliot nodded, his heart warmed by their words. A lifetime of regrets now transformed into hopes for a brighter future. At that moment, a surge of affection washed over him, and he gathered the courage to express what he felt. "Before we get too comfortable, there's something I need to say," he began, voice steady. "In the journey of saving you, I ended up finding something beyond redemption. I found love. All of you represent pieces of me that I didn't know were missing." His voice broke slightly. "So I want to ask you, would you consider joining me in a partnership? A way to mark our journey together as not just freedom seekers, but as a family?" As the words hung in the air, apprehension coursed through Elliot. Would they accept? Lyra's eyes sparkled like stars, and Zira's fierce demeanor softened. Neela's gentle gaze reflected understanding. After a breathless moment, they erupted into laughter, a sweet, resonating joy. "Yes!" they shouted in unison, their voices sending echoes throughout the ship. The moment filled with hope and laughter, signaling a new beginning. United, they had rewritten their destinies and become an unshakable force, a family marked by strength, love, and resilience. As the stars shimmered beyond the viewport, Elliot knew they were bound for a new journey, one that promised adventure, love, and stories yet to unfold together. Their hearts, once shattered, were now remade, each piece crafted with care, now nestled within a newfound hope that together they would continue to venture into the cosmic unknown.